As a cross-country skier, I've become pretty familiar with the name Emil Nordeen. There's the Great Nordeen race every year, and Emil's clearing at the Bachelor Nordic Center.
And where I'm going today also has a connection.
But while his name is familiar, I didn't know anything about him until now. Emil Nordeen was born in Sweden, and in order to avoid the draft in his home country, he followed a couple of his uncles across the pond on a ship. Emil was headed for Canada.
On the way over, he learns poker for the first time on the ship, and he loses all of his money, so that when he lands in Canada, he's basically broke.
Emil lived in many places and had many jobs, but in 1920, the roads of Emil's life converged in Central Oregon, where he took up working at the mills.
And then one day in 1927, Emil heard about a race.
The Fort Klamath to Crater Lake ski race has been formed, and a winter carnival around this big giant ski race as a way to get people down into southern Central Oregon and build some investment and some tourism, right?
Emil had been skiing since he was a kid, but had reached middle age and had never raced in his life.
And several of Emil's friends are going to go down and ski in it. Shearshaw, Wolfsburg, all of them are going to go down and compete in this race. So Emil's never really skied competitively before, and he doesn't even have his own set of skis at this point, so he just grabs some 2x4s, makes his own pair of skis. He trains for a whopping 10 days and goes and races for the first time in the Fort Klamath to Crater Lake race. This is a 42-mile race. Very extreme, very difficult, and many people come out to watch and bet.
So the gambler from Sweden, who had bet on countless hands of poker, suddenly had other gamblers potentially betting on him.
But it didn't really go all that well.
So first year, totally, gets skunked. Takes him like 13 hours. Decides he's going to train and come back next year.
In 1928, he actually placed second, right behind a fellow Swede who lived in California by the name of Manfred Jakobsen.
But it was in 1930 that Emil's training finally paid off. He won the race, but Jakobsen came in second.
That's when the race organizers decided to up the ante by offering a solid silver trophy to whomever wins the race twice.
A showdown lay dead ahead.
So if either of them wins the 1931 race, they get to keep the trophy. All these people come, and there's rampant betting on the whole entire thing, and everybody's watching these two men. Which one of them is going to win the race?
Once again, the man of 1,000 poker bets suddenly finds himself the subject of hundreds more.
Now, at first, things didn't look too good for Emil or anybody that bet on him, until a simple act of nourishment turned the tables.
Manfred's in the lead, but it's getting towards the end, and he makes the decision to accept some broth from someone on the sideline, drinks it, and then minutes later is overwhelmed and he's vomiting on the side, and this gives Emil the chance to pass him, and Emil goes on to win.
The gambler drew nothing but aces on that day, but sadly, that hand also came up with a joker.
There was so much gambling and so much betting that had happened that, of course, there's the specter of, did someone who bet on Emil, offer something from the sideline, and was Manfred actually poisoned or sabotaged? And that lurked over Emil, for the rest of his life.
But he didn't let that stop him. Emil went on to be one of the founders of the Skyliner Ski Club, an early predecessor to Mount Bachelor. He became one of the first humans to climb Haystack Rock at Cannon Beach.
And Emil Nordeen's name lives on in the Nordic community to this very day, including right here.
And at the end of his life, Emil returned to the passion he discovered on that ship so many years ago.
In 1980, at the age of 90, he decided to move to Reno and get back into poker, and became a fixture at the poker tables at the Calneva casino in Reno. And he lived out the rest of his life there and passed away at the age of 96.
For Central Oregon Daily News, I'm Scott Elmas.